Hey everyone, and welcome back to OTA. And today in this video, what we're going to try to tackle is one of the problems we've been having with lighting. Down the side of the ALu cabin, there is no light to come down here unless you open the windows, and we don't like to open the windows unless there's just a real big reason for it. It's got some great lights inside. But when we set up a table here and we put the canopy out and we're trying to cook or something like that, you know, off the gas, there's just not a lot of light at night. So I found a product on Amazon. They're fairly cheap. Rigid also makes a really good one, but they're expensive. So what I'm going to do is try to mount some lights down the side here that are controlled from the inside control panel, and put some on the other side too, to just try to, you know, kind of get a little more light around the rig. Okay, now as you've seen in previous videos, if you haven't, I'll put a link up in the description from the install of this panel and this light controller, which is all powered from the RedArc Manager 30 system. I pre-wired these two buttons in for lights going to this side of the cabin and then lights coming down this rail here. Okay, now what we found is a product on Amazon. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name. And what these are little lights that are basically made for an RV. They're about 5,500 Kelvin, throwing out about 770 lumen, and you can see they're very easy to mount. It's just two screws and run the wire. You can take this panel off and just run the wire directly out the back or out the side if you needed to. And pretty simple, comes with these bolts, but we're going to use a different type of screw. These run retail about 16 something, 18 after tax a piece. The rigid ones, I think they do about 1,100 lumen and run about $78 a piece. So these are a good economical option because I am the budget overlander. All right, and what we're going to be using to connect these lights to the cabin are these self-drilling screws. They're metal to metal. They basically do their own tapping to hold them in place. Next thing is to prep the light. We're going to take this back panel off, move this cable out on all four of the lights because we're going to put two on each side. To get these bolts out here, we basically have to use a T10. What that allows us to do is take this back plate off and pull this cable out straight. Be careful you don't let anything fall off of this because this has to go back exactly like it is with all the seals that are in the unit itself. There's little seals around some of these holes. Okay, now that all the cables are prepped, you'll notice because we pulled the cable out of this little hole over here, there's now a little gap there that water can seep in. We're going to seal all these in from the top and around the sides with Sikaflex here. Seal those up, and that way that can be dried by the time we get ready to mount the lights. These lights also do come with a little bit of a sealant package where this mounts here, and then when you peel this off, it has kind of a tacky background, so whenever you kind of just stick it in place, it generally stays pretty much where you're going to put it. But I'm not relying on any of this, just maybe a little extra sealant. Now, in order to get this in position correctly, there's a box right here which kind of routes some of the cables and supports the structure. So we're going to go a little bit to the left of and to the right of it. About right here, we're going to need to drill two holes and then one big hole for the cable to go in. So the light will be sort of mounted right here to shine down. So the other light is going to be placed right here on this bend, about right here. So when it shines, it'll shine out at an angle, making it a little bit easier to see in this general area. These lights are pretty bright, so they're going to be able to light up this whole area. Let's see if we can get this other side done before sundown catches up with us. Now on the other side, we had to fight with the awning to get things in place. Here we should not have any trouble at all. Let me show you how I've got it wired up in the ALu cabin. Okay, next step, moment of truth. This is the wire from one of the lights on the side here. This This is the light run coming from the control panel on the fuse box. We want to use one of these to try and connect it. Now, according to the instructions, the red goes on this side and the black goes on that side. So if you stick this in here, like so, hit them with a pair of pliers, they should be connected. Now, the power wire goes on the bottom and the ground goes on the top. So we're gonna pull this and connect it in there. See how that works. And as I was afraid of, this 16 gauge wire will not clamp into this because it's basically an 18 gauge. The wiring housing won't even close around these big wires. So we do it old school. Now when I say let's do it old school style, we're gonna take these kind of clamps, put the wires, both of the wires in there, clamp it down, and they should connect and seal. Then I'm gonna seal that up with some electrical tape. But as you can see, it makes a nice and easy connection. And before I did all this, you definitely want to make sure that your fuses are able to handle the amount of lights that you are putting on them. Now that we've got the connection made, let's go test it out. Okay, we got one light tested. Now I'm going to connect all 4 of the lights, test all of them together. Then we are going to need to seal the outside with some Sikaflex. Seal these wires inside. They are protected inside, but you just never know. You want to make sure. That's the work I got to get done the rest of the night. So, got to get to it.